We'll do it live. We'll do it live. What's going on, boys? We'll just wait for some people to get on. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. So.
Not bad, Jared. Not bad. We'll just wait for a few people to get on, and then we'll see how this goes. See if this is all working. This boomer tech. Hey, Stefanos, your glasses look really nice tonight, man. You look pretty.
Yeah. Thank you, mate. I'm very fucking hell.
If anyone can see this stream, please comment below, and we'll get into it. I don't know why that comment's just stuck there. Oh, that's because I pressed it.
There's 16 people watching right now, which is good.
All right. So, if someone can comment and say howdy,
okay.
I'll put you on the screen. So say whatever you want, and I'll put it on the screen just to know that this is all working. Oh, here we go. Shut up, Neil. All right, I'll put that one up. Okay. All good. All right. How many viewers are on?
Okay, you got 24 people, mate.
24. Marcia's on. Beautiful Marcia. Nice. All right. First off, before we start, guys, there was I wanted to get into this before we asked Jared what happened to him on the border. An article appeared today in The Age. I thought I'd correct it. Apparently, a couple of liberal members are suing the LNP in Queensland because they were booted out of the party because of associating with a far-right extremist, which I actually I went to a religious event, and I think Goodwin was there. I don't really remember talking to him. It was just a religious event, wasn't really a political event. I was trolling the Liberals because it was during the election. I used that and other things to kind of to get political advantage, to get Fraser Anning more votes, and kind of to show the Liberal Party that, hang on, far right, you're calling Fraser Anning far right, we're all far right Nazis. Well, you know, I've rubbed shoulders with you before. That's what it was all about. So good luck with your case, Goodwin. If you want me to be a witness, let me know. I vaguely remember seeing you. I don't think I spoke to you. It was a religious meeting, and you didn't invite me, obviously. So we'll get that all cleared up. So, no, the Liberals weren't hanging out with good old me. So we'll get started. So I've got an old mate of mine, Jared. He was in the news the other day on Channel 7 for being arrested for attempting to travel this country. What happened, Jared? What was going on? What are you? You're like a kickboxer, yeah? You teach kickboxing?
Yeah. Well, I'm a coach for kickboxing. I teach kids and adults how to fight. And basically, me and the family were on our way over to Coral, where we train regularly. We run a kids non-for-profit school holiday clinic, actually. And we're on our way over, and when I get to the border, which we live 10k from, I was informed that I could no longer cross the border.
So you live in Albury, which is just over the border in Victoria from New South Wales.
No. I live near Rutherglen, which is just south of the border in Victoria. So you
get special exemptions to cross because you're on the border. So there's a lot of work over the border, and there's a lot of things that people have to go over the border for. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So we were headed over, me and the family, and the police pulled us over and told us we could no longer go without a permit, even though it was a journey I had done just 10 hours before and got through with no permit. So when I disputed the fact that I need a permit to cross the border, as is my country and my constitutional right, they proceeded to drag me out the car in front of my wife and kids and ultimately arrest me and charged me and detained me overnight for nothing, basically, for not committing a crime. So they're going.
So hang on, let me get this straight, because I watched the news the other night, and what I got from the news was that a man was like running his car through the borders, and he got charged. That's not exactly what happened, was it? Not at all.
Not quite. No, we do have the footage of what happened, and we were quite courteous and polite, and we tried to reason with them, but they weren't willing to do that. So it eventuated with them, like I said, detaining me and taking me away.
So from what you told me earlier, basically, you drove your car to the border, to cross. Which you live on the border, you're allowed to. You have special exemptions, and they said, "Look, you got to sign this paperwork. You got to sign something with your you got to sign something like a contract or some piece of paperwork, and you refused. They told you to get out of the car, dragged you out of the car, and then one of the officers told you to get back in your car and turn around and drive back. Is that kind of what happened?
Yeah, they had asked me multiple times to turn around and drive back. They actually offered to get my permit for me if I would allow them to do so. But, I just stuck on my guns that I don't need a permit to cross the border. And, they did try to get me to turn around too, but I wasn't willing to do that either. So I informed them that unless they arrested me, I was going to continue on my way. Yeah.
So it's my understanding, I've got my finger on the pulse of the law. I get kind of your rights. It's kind of like if you've got a bit of common sense, you kind of can understand the law. So the only people I know that can compel you to do something, because I know I've been arrested and detained, I go limp. Yeah, that's not resisting. You can go limp, and that's not classed as resisting. So it's one strategy. So in a sense, the only person or people who can make you do anything in this country is a judge or a magistrate under a court order, and that's given to the police. So the police can't compel you to get back in your car and move it, can they? They could send a tow truck to come get it, but they can't compel you to do that. That's my understanding. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, that sounds fair. Though being fair to them, so they didn't ask me to get back in the car once they had got me out, and my wife ended up moving it, mainly because we were sitting in the middle of the highway and we had traffic backed up for miles. So it wasn't fair for all of them to suffer our sufferance. So, yeah, we moved the car and let them through.
So you didn't do anything? You didn't attack, resist arrest? No, now what's your charge? What's the actual charge? I've got it written here, but if you would like to read it out.
Yeah, well, they didn't actually present me with a charge or a charge sheet. So they released me on bail to appear with the offence of not complying with the direction 789 of the COVID legislation. So that was basically an offence, which is a directive from the chief health officer. So as far as I'm aware, no law was broken. Yeah.
Your issues didn't end when they arrested you, because they took you to the local police. They actually took you. They took you from Victoria, where you were travelling towards New South Wales. When they arrested you, they actually took you over the border to New South Wales.
They did, yeah. They took me to the
and then they refused you bail, so you spent the night in jail.
I did, yeah.
And you got out the next day, and they tried to keep you in jail. Is that correct?
They did, yes. The prosecution opposed bail. On what grounds, I'm not quite sure, but he did oppose bail. Thankfully, the register gave me bail because my kids were at home and tormented the fact that Dad was in jail. They weren't quite old enough to understand all that. So, yeah, they locked me up for the night and, luckily got the next day. So $5,000 of surety, I might add. So.
Now, my understanding, because I've been through the courts a bit, so there's summary offences, then there's indictable offences. Now, summary offences, it's very rare that you get a bail. It's pretty much unheard of, unless you get a court order to come to court when you refused. Now, this is a 6-month maximum prison sentence, which puts it in the category of a summary offence, which there's no need for the police to give you bail. This should be just a summons by paperwork. Yeah. There should be no bail at all, unless it's an indictable offence. I think the seriousness of an offence, you have to have a hang on, I'm going to block this person. I don't know who the fuck it is. I don't know. Let me know if it blocks on your side too, guys.
I can't see any comments, which is good.
It's not about you, Jared. It's about Medi. Someone's got it in for Medi. But
sorry, Medi.
My understanding that it's a serious offence. It has to be over 2 years imprisonment for the offence. You've got a 6 month possible prison sentence for this. That's a summary offence. Why are they making you go on bail and you have to pay $5,000 and you're on bail?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm lost.
And the other thing, you didn't even see a judge, did you, or a magistrate when you got out?
No, the magistrate was sick that day apparently, so I had to see a bail register instead.
Bail register. And I also noticed, I'll let you chime in a sec, Medi. I saw on the news that the media were trying to mock you. They said you don't believe the disease is real, etc. Why were you wearing a mask in court? What happened? Why were you wearing a mask?
Well, when I was in the cells, I was informed that I wasn't allowed to leave the cells without a mask on, so they handcuffed me and proceeded to put a mask on me. And at one stage I did actually try to remove the mask, which time it was put back on my face. So the mask wasn't my choice, but it was something we had to live with.
So what do you reckon, Mehdi? Do you reckon this is pretty full on? Like, do you reckon this is against his human rights?
It's full on. I had two questions for you, Jazz. The first one is just a small legal one. With what Neil said about how it's a summary offence and technically there shouldn't be a bail. Did they sort of explain that because of the new COVID legislation, which is arguably unconstitutional, we get to that later perhaps, did they explain that because it's an emergency law, technically we can bail you, or did they explain that?
No, there was nothing like that.
They didn't clarify that because Neil made a point. I was wondering if they added. I was wondering if there's with these emergency laws that summary offences can have bail on them. Did they explain that at all? Or?
No, they didn't. Basically, once I was arrested and taken back to the police station, that was the last opportunity I had to speak to a police officer. They locked me in a cell until I was informed that my bail was denied, at which time I was moved to the back of the police station there, which is effectively under corrections. So from then on, I dealt with no one but corrections. I fronted court the next day via teleprompter. Received my bail, and then they just let me out the door.
Did you have any legal advice? Did you call a lawyer? Did you have any help from lawyers at all? Or?
I got a duty solicitor did come and see me that morning. I was entitled to the duty solicitor because I hadn't had a chance to speak to anybody else. Basically that was about it. He didn't really know the ins and outs of what was happening. One of the police actually informed me that they had no idea themselves what they were supposed to do or what the process was, because all they had was a bit of paper to give them the directives. So no one knew what was happening. It was quite a show.
This is the first time anyone's been sort of charged under this law. Craig, you're the first man in Australia that's been charged,
As far as I know, not a title that I'm happy to hold, but one that I've got. So
And in terms of the way you were treated, Jazz, when can you explain exactly what happened? You were trying to cross the border, the police stopped you, and also once they arrested you, how did it happen? Did they just arrest you on the spot? Did they pull you out of your car? Did they treat you well? Just give us a bit of a rundown of how it actually went down.
Well, we were there for about over an hour. We were there for about an hour and a half while they were on the phone to their legal team trying to work out what they could actually arrest me for. Most of the officers seemed to generally be on my side. One of them actually told me he was grateful for what I was doing and taking a stand and wished me genuine luck for my court case. So I took that as that's what I thought. Basically, I don't think they knew what they were doing or why they were doing it. We were there for over an hour and a half. I repeatedly informed them that I had the right and they had no right to stop me. I showed them all the legislations and I asked them for proof of their position, proof of their authority in this position, and I received nothing. So
did you have any footage? Did you take any film of this, mate?
We got the whole thing. Yeah, we got the whole thing. Yeah, my wife filmed the whole. My kids were in the background a lot, so it makes it sort of hard. I don't want to drag them into it, and they were there and they were talking through the whole process. So we will release bits, but it'll be edited just to get the kids out of the footage.
Fair enough, absolutely. So if you can maybe blur it out, that'll be fair enough. Also wondering in terms of have you spoken to a lawyer about your chances of winning? Have you any sort of discussions have you had internally with your legal team, so to speak, or your family and friends? What are the chances of you actually winning? Do you know what the chances are?
I believe our chances are good, to be honest. So, our defence is just the law. So we're standing by the law, by exactly what it says. I've had a chance to speak to some legal advice. I've also had a lot of help from a group called Solutions Empowerment, and some of the people on that website have been great help. Nick Patterson, the owner of the MMA gym in Melbourne, who had that running with the police, he's been a great help. Neil's been a great help. So I've had a lot of good input, and a lot of people seem to think I have a good place. Clive Palmer's actually got a High Court case going at the moment with the Western Australia government about the unconstitutional, or should I say, the validity of the lockdown. So we're going to try to intervene in that. I've spoke to Clive Palmer's legal team about that. We're going to try to get an intervention into that court case as well, and hopefully we can get some progress.
Cool, that's good. I wish you all the best, and for what it's worth, mate, if you want, after the show, Neil, if you want to give me my number, if he's interested, I've got maybe one or two contacts and I'll be able to help you out.
It sounds great.
So
the more help, the
better.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, we intend to take this to the High Court, so the more help we can get, the better. It's going to be a big case by the look of it.
My last question for now is, do you know much, because you mentioned before about how you were trying to defend yourself in terms of the law. What sort of arguments did you give to the court of the police? Did you reference the Constitution? Like, can you enlighten us on what you think your strongest arguments are, without giving too much away for the court case? But what can you reveal?
Yeah, no, of course. Well, yes, I definitely stated the Constitution. I stated, Section 109 of the Constitution, which states that we can travel throughout the states unimpeded. We have the right to travel. I also quoted one section in of the Constitution, Section 92. Yeah, the list goes on and on. There's a lot of court cases, high court cases that set precedent in this matter that say that the Constitution is still valid even now to 2006. So yeah, we have lots of evidence, lots of court cases, the Biosecurity Act and all that sort of stuff. None of it covers what they've done. What they've done here is unlawful, so it's completely illegal. They've tried to cover their tracks, but they haven't done a very good job. So we think when we get to court, we'll have a decent chance of ripping the Constitution.
No worries, mate. Definitely give me a call at some point, because there's a guy I know. I don't know him personally, but he's got a YouTube channel. He specializes in common law. I don't know if you know much about common law and the Australia Act.
A little bit, a little bit.
I'm still, my research is very embryonic. It's still early on. I don't know. I haven't read through myself fully on it, but I know a bit about it. And I reckon that he basically argues that all these COVID laws shouldn't even exist, and the whole parliament and all the laws are just based on a fallacy. So
that's correct. Yeah, 100%.
I think he might be able to help you. So I'll give you his details later on. Yeah.
That'd be great. Well, yeah, the Constitution said even the first argument we got is the fact that all laws fall under the Constitution. All state laws fall under the Constitution, which we have the right to travel in. And these are obviously state laws. These aren't federal laws. This is a state law that's being imposed upon me here. So it's unlawful. Yeah, and we're going to fight it all the way. So
good stuff, man.
Thanks, mate.
I just put that comment up. I just picked a random comment in the chat. Hang on. Oh shit! I shouldn't have put that one up. Sorry, matey. No, Raymond Forster had a good comment up here. What is it? He said something about the.
Yeah, Mike Holt. That's the guy. Mike Holt.
Yeah, Mike Holt's all right. This is quite interesting, but this is what I'm trying to talk about. Like, what constitutes quarantine? Like, what is this disease, man? What is this stuff that they're saying is floating around in the air? Like, I don't even think this thing is that bad, man. Like, I mean, obviously the elderly and stuff are pretty crook and people with pre-existing things, but I know a couple of hot chick nurses, man, that have told me some things about like the flu and stuff like that. Like, when someone like a year or two ago, if an old person like died from the flu, like they got the flu and they're ill and they died, they would write on the death certificate they died from pneumonia. They wouldn't write they died from the flu, because pneumonia, I think, comes after the flu and that kind of kills them. Now they're just writing everything's like COVID. Oh, this is COVID. Some dude, like was riding his motorcycle, crashed into a wall. COVID. If they tested him, COVID. What do you say? What say you?
Well, quickly, just with that Quarantine Act, the Biosecurity Act and Quarantine Act is one argument they may use. The scope of the powers that are in the Quarantine Act have never actually been examined by the High Court. So, that's coming from 1908. So the legality of that act has never been tested in the High Court. And that's also something that, we believe is unconstitutional and would have, I think the High Court would have a close look at whether that is legal or not. So, that is a good call and it's an interesting one. But, we'll see how that goes in court.
And are you going to defend yourself, mate, or do you got a lawyer who's going to help you out?
I am going to defend myself. Yeah, I'm going to defend myself. Obviously going to the High Court costs a lot of money, and I'm just your average sort of working Aussie, so we can't afford to take on the government. But myself and Neil acting as my Mackenzie's friend, and we should be right to go.
No worries, mate.
Well, I'm just going to get me arrest warrant sorted out in New South Wales to come down and give me a hand. Look. I don't know, and even your lawyer didn't even know what was going on with this law because it's like new, like they just wrote it.
That's right. Yeah, and they make it so hard for the average person to understand. How are we supposed to know what the law is and what the law isn't? We read the acts and then they tell us that the acts don't matter. We read the legislations don't matter. So they've made it ultra confusing to even know what the law is. So as far as I'm concerned, I asked them for evidence, and all they done was wave a bit of paper in my face, and to me, that's not evidence. So yeah.
Hey, Anxious Aussie is pretty excited tonight. What's she angry about? She's getting real angry.
Well, I saw the photo, Jazz, of you in the divvy van. You seem like a big, strong bloke, mate, and I was wondering, it wasn't traumatic? You don't feel traumatized at all by the way they treated you? Everything was okay in terms of that?
I won't, traumatized, I would say not, but I definitely think I have a case against the false arrest, the false imprisonment, so I won't speak too much on that. But yeah, I definitely wasn't happy with the way I was treated. My kids were witnesses. My wife was a witness. They paraded me all over the TV. I run a business locally. It's not. It doesn't help my cause, that's for sure. So yeah, I definitely wasn't happy with the way I was treated. Yeah.
Well, as a business owner yourself, I'm sure. So you're a Victorian, or
Victorian. Nah.
So you would know all about it. So a lot of business owners right now are really pissed off because actually today I think they found out that there's been at least 2 cases that are linked to the BLM rallies. So the whole the clusters that have caused the second lockdown in Victoria, they found that some of the clusters are being linked to people attending the BLM rally. And basically, you must, as a business owner yourself, who has had to follow the rules, and you can't let a certain amount of people in your business, you must be really pissed off because of the hypocrisy here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I don't know where they're getting all these tests from. Like, I went onto the Australian government website earlier today, and it says that the Australian, like the actual, they don't know if the tests are valid or not. They have no evidence because it's such a limited disease that they don't know if the tests are correct or not. So they're giving all these tests and diagnosing all these diseases, and at the same time admitting they don't know if they're correct. So it's very contradictory. Their numbers are just are all made up.
Yeah, so what's going on with because I was under the impression, correct me if I'm wrong, fellas, the whole point of the lockdown was to flatten the curve.
So
flatten the curve and get the hospitals ready. Now the hospitals are ready, the curve's been flattened. Like, why are we going into lockdown again? What's going on? What is this dude Daniel Andrews up to, mate? What is he doing?
Well, there's been 250 cases or something every day for the last week, mate. That's why we need to go on lockdown, apparently, because there's been like an exponential growth of bloody cases in Victoria.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Hey, I found out today too. Apparently, the actual strain of COVID-19 is the size of it is 0.003, and the face masks can only like the holes in the face masks are like way wider or something. So they're like even the face mask will just let it come through. Yeah. Did you see that also? Or?
Yeah, I thought they told us at the start the face masks don't work. They keep changing their opinion. I can't keep up with it.
Yeah. The most important question. I was actually going to ask this. I was telling Jared earlier. I'm going to ask you about the prison, like overnight in prison. What food did they give you in the cells, Jared? Like, what did you eat?
They didn't actually feed me real well. So believe it or not, I have been in better cells. So they gave me a pasty, and they gave me a pie. So they gave me a pasty for lunch and a pie for dinner. The next day they gave me a little bowl of cereal. And that was it. Yeah. So,
hey, was there a gang of Chads in the jail, like roaming and picking on all the incels or the betas in there? Was that going on?
Not that I seen. No, it was only the cells. So yeah, I was actually pretty lonely in there.
Was the guards walking around like late at night, opening up people's doors and like letting people go in and get some revenge?
Mate, I'm a father of 3, so I actually just slept the whole time. So I got 3 kids under 5. So as soon as I got that 12 hours sleep, my wife was.
But in all seriousness,
how well I slept, she wasn't happy.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, it wasn't a good experience, was it, Jared?
No, not at all. Definitely not one I want to relive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry for what happened, Jared. I'm sorry that our government is just retarded now. Like, I'm sorry to everyone in this country. Like, I know we say Victoria, but it's our whole government. They don't like the people. They don't like us, and they want to see us punished. Like, shut up! How dare you try and cross the border? Like, let's lock you up and give you a pasty and a meat pie now. You know what I mean? They're just nuts. They're going crazy. Here we got
I definitely felt belittled in court. They definitely tried to portray me as a criminal, for just driving across the border, which was, pretty erratic, I think.
We've got a super chat here. Jazz, did you bronze up in the cell?
Bronze up? What's bronze up?
I hear someone whispering. No, I think it's like make your skin like darker, isn't it?
Yeah, like exercise and I don't know, something about like getting fit or something.
Nah.
I don't know.
Or get a tan.
Yeah, I definitely didn't get a tan. No, I'm trying to get as white as I can. Yeah.
It's a good colour, man.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes, I guess. I'm just watching the Enigma report. Do you guys watch this guy's show?
No.
Don't know who he is.
Yeah, no, he's got a channel. He does lives all the time. He's a pretty smart dude. Just looking at these comments. So what else is going on, Jared? What do you think? What are your chances of winning? Like,
Well, I don't think the High Court wants to see this case go through. I think they've been trying to delay Clive Palmer's case for as long as they can, since his case is only to reopen the border. So if they can reopen the border before his case goes to court, there'll be no case. But they're worried about it going to court because they know that they might lose. So, it's definitely, I've definitely got a good chance. The WA Premier, Mark McGowan, actually said that it doesn't make sense for the federal government to be supporting a border closure between New South Wales, but on the other hand, challenging the WA's border in the High Court. So the fact that by proxy, the federal government is really on our side, I think that helps. I'm going to, talk to our lawyers about further action with that. But, the fact that Scott Morrison is backing the case, that's a strong ace in our hand.
Yeah, that's true. I don't want to see. I wanted to say some things in this video, but I don't know if it's like legal on YouTube anymore.
I'm trying to be careful what I say.
I think this virus is bullshit. What do you reckon? Did you just hear me then? Bullshit.
I think what the bullshit is the fact that it doesn't kill many people. We shouldn't be worried about the death rate. It's more just how contagious it is. Unfortunately, it is very contagious. And the bad thing is that you can maybe come in contact with some old people. And I think there's been a couple of more elderly people dying. So all the people that get it, they basically recover within a couple of weeks or a week or two, as long as they're in isolation. But what's worrying everyone is that those people come into contact with elderly people or children. That's the danger. So I don't think it's bullshit. I just think that the death rates are, they're making it to be a lot worse than it is.
The funny thing with that is I looked at the death rate in that today, and they say we have a 98.62% recovery rate, but they also say that the average median age of death from coronavirus is 80 years old. The average median age of death in Australia is 79. So the average. So you're actually living longer with COVID than without. So
Yeah, but you talk to people. It's about lives. It's about lives. I went to the service station one day and I had an argument with this lady. And I actually don't. I don't rampage. I don't rampage in my personal life. No, just because I walked into the server and I had this big glass. I go to the server all the time, and all of a sudden I just had this big glass bloody plastic divider, and I said, "Whoa, okay, COVID." And she kind of rolled her eyes, like, "Yeah, COVID." And I said, "Yeah, like I don't think it's that bad." And that, and she's like, "Oh, it is bad." She said, "My dad's got lung problems," and I go, "Yeah, fair enough." She goes, "Yeah, but we've got to protect." I go, "Yeah, but why don't you just lower the speed limits to 10 k's an hour? Then you'll save lives doing that." Where do we end? Let's just break the economy, stuff it. You know what I mean? Like, if I was the leader of like a dictator Dan of Victoria, I'll tell you what I would have done. This is what I would have done first day. Put all the old people, the people with pre-existing issues, into an open air quarantine. Yeah? Look after them. Spend millions of dollars on it, yeah? TVs, medical equipment. No one goes in there. Yeah? And let the country continue to work. And eventually the herd mentality, everyone will just catch it and then get rid of it and then bring it back into society. No, but we're talking about the economy, man. You don't want to crash the economy. Like,
no, definitely not.
We all know these communists have taken over this, and they're trying to break our system, mate. They're trying to break capitalism, and then they want to go, look, capitalism failed. That's what it's all about. They want to break the economy.
Yeah, they want to have the Aboriginals as well, mate. But the Aboriginals, the smallpox that happened when the white man came to Australia, they're afraid that the virus is going to go to their communities as well. So that's why they reacted like this, because they're afraid of the Aboriginal communities.
What did we have back in the 70s when all the immigrants were coming in? They put them in open air quarantines. What was it? Smallpox? People were dying back in the old days. And when they come in, they had them in open air like camps, and they released them like when they was a certain amount of time. So it's not like the first thing. What I think they were scared at the start. They didn't know what this was, and they just quickly shut everything down. And I think a lot of people on the left have seen an opening here. We can continue this and break the economy. But I think what they did at the start, no one knew what it was, and they just jumped into it and just went totally extreme. Do you agree or disagree?
100% they've gone extreme. The New South Wales government has actually deemed any Victorian as infected. So in the eyes of the government, whether you have COVID or not, you are now an infected person in the eyes of the New South Wales government. So if you're a Victorian.
Well, what do they say in German? You're an Untermenschen. A subhuman,
Yeah. No, they're definitely
kind of like how the gays were treated when they had AIDS, back in the day, and they were persecuted, and no one wanted to employ them or be next to them because they thought that AIDS is like, they were shunned from society. I kind of feel like us Victorians, like the gays of the 21st century.
Yeah.
We're being persecuted. But hey, how's that protest? Because apparently you're not allowed to do nothing in Melbourne now. But apparently it depends which political persuasion you come from. Because if you're like a lefty and you protest for Black Lives Matter, apparently you get exemption. And you can do what you want. But if you're on the other side of politics or anything unrelated to leftist politics, you can't do anything. So we had a bunch of people from the towers, in quotes, the commission flats, go to that protest in the city. They go back to their homes. They, eating their food, hugging people. Everyone caught it in the commission flats. And apparently that's our fault. It's not the protest. It's your fault, Mehdi and Jared. And everyone else out there. Do you agree?
Well, they might have caught something, but I don't know if they'll caught corona or not. So 15 to 30% of all viral diseases are a form of coronavirus, and their testing can't distinguish between COVID-19 or any other form. So, yeah, I think they're all just got the cold, mate. Yeah.
Didn't they test an orange and it had COVID?
That wouldn't surprise me.
No, I'm pretty sure that actually happened. I'm not even sure.
That wouldn't surprise me, but yeah.
Well, interesting fact, just a quick fact that I just have to include here, just to educate people on science. Corona, the word corona comes from the Greek word crown. So, and the reason why they call it crown is because when you actually put the disease or whatever under a microscope, it looks like a crown. So just a fun fact for you there. Corona comes from the Greek word crown because of the way it looks.
So the Greeks brought it over. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the Greeks invented it. Yeah, unfortunately, it's from Greece, not from Wuhan. It's from Greece. Yeah.
No, Greek history. There's a lot of Greek history. It's very interesting to read up on. But everything kind of seems to originate from Greece, like all the wording, anyway, the language.
Yeah.
But thanks for coming on, Jared. Man, is there anything else you want to add to this, or because I'm going to wind this up? It's up to you.
Yeah, no, that was good, mate. Thank you for having me. I appreciate all the support I can get. Yeah, we sort of need to stand together in times like this, and the more people that stand up for our rights, the better chance we have of keeping some of them. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah.
Well, all us Patriots, mate, are with you. Anything you need, give us a call. You got my number.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
We're going to keep our eyes on this case. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll be giving updates to everyone as well. That way,
cool.
all the rather than everyone getting it from the mainstream media, they get it from unbiased media like us as well.
Yeah, well, I'm sure with Neil Afton as my Mackenzie's friend, it'll get plenty of attention. So
should be fun.
Should be fun.
Yeah, just before you go, I want to explain to people what a Mackenzie's friend is, yeah, because in England it's actually quite popular. So you can't have someone represent you in court unless they've got a bar license, unless they've been trained for the bar, like a barrister or a lawyer. But there's a concept called Mackenzie's friend. And in the 70s, there was a court action in the Supreme Court of England that gave the right to someone, a friend, to appear next to a defendant, give them advice, but not speak for them, but give them advice and kind of help them through the process. And you can actually sit with them in court and no one can tell you not to. So if you want to look into it, Mackenzie's friend, get people who know the law out there. You'll save a lot of money on lawyers. I know there's probably a lot of retards out there that don't know what they're doing. But if you know someone who's been through the courts for something, actually, I wouldn't get a Mackenzie's friend for something serious. I'll just say that. But if you're going for the family courts or something like that, and you have a friend that's been through it before, maybe save that $50,000 to $100,000 and just talk to them, talk to other people. And, let's take it out of these lawyers' hands, because these lawyers, I'm telling you, not all of them, but, mate, they're in it for money. Yeah,
money hungry, of course.
Lawyers are there to protect the system. So the lawyers hold up the system. So, yeah, we are much better off representing ourselves every chance we get, no doubt.
Because the oldest trick in the book, and this is what they do, and this is what they did to Ricky, and they do it to everyone, yeah? So if you want to fight a charge, you go see a lawyer, yeah? And you say, hey, I got this charge of this, I want to beat this. Oh, yeah, you'll beat this 100%. Give me money, we'll work on your defense, yeah? So you spend 2 years giving them money, gets the time for trial, yeah, after all the mentions, and then they'll turn around and say, hey, just take the deal, take it. So then you've paid for all their prep work for a trial, and they've actually even gone to a trial. So just be careful of that too, guys out there. But Jared, mate, good stuff, man. Like, I'm not like one of these anti, authority. We do need some sort of police, and we do need some sort of law and order. But
of course,
I don't like how they get turn into tyrants. Like, you're still a free citizen. You can cross the border. You can do what you want. This Chinese flu has no, it shouldn't impede on your personal life. Like,
no, I believe not. Yeah.
I
haven't seen anyone sick yet, mate. So,
do you think you've had it before, this COVID?
Nah, I don't catch anything, so I'll be fine. Yeah,
so you have a good immune system then. Hey, Eddie, have you had this COVID disease?
No, man. I just wanted to quickly show Ned Kelly, mate. Just have him in mind. In this whole process, have Ned Kelly in mind. He showed us what it means to stand up to corruption and bullshit laws. We need to start, being more like Ned Kelly. We need more Ned Kellys, mate. And I think you've got an opportunity here to prove that we can get back, that Australian spirit, mate. You've got to fight like Ned Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just trolling, guys. I'm kind of being half serious. Listen to me. Anyway, guys, it's been a good chat. Thanks to the viewers. There was one super chat I missed. I seen it earlier, but anyway, he just said, how you going? I think his name was, his name might have been Jared, actually. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for coming on, Jared.
Thanks, you, mate. Appreciate it.
Are we staying on to give a quick update about your the Liberal stuff, or are we doing that another time?
Oh, I did it at the start, but yeah, basically, look, the Liberals are a mess, man. The Liberals are a mess. Yeah, they need to do some work, some hard work. Look, this is what happens when Conservatives get lazy. Conservatives don't want to fight every single day. They want to kind of take a snooze and let the enemy within their own party, man, and cuck it out. This is what happens. So then when you have like normal right wingers, mate, my politics aren't as extreme as someone in the 70s or the 80s. You talk to, if you put Blair Cottrell, if you dump him in the 70s or 80s, people will be calling him a lefty. I'm telling you, we would be called lefties. We're kind of a bit more libertarian. Mate, back then in the 70s and 80s, everyone was like us. Like, all of a sudden, this big change has happened. And, all of a sudden, we're extremists, and the Liberal Party will just chuck us to the wolves. If you're a Liberal, if you're in the Liberal Party and you're a Christian and you're pro-abortion, yeah, you're a total piece of shit. Yeah, so that's all I've got to say. All right, guys.
Cool.
Catch us all. Love yous all. Thanks for tuning in. I might do another one soon.
Thank you, mate.
No worries. See you later.
All right, see yous.
See you, Jazz.
Cheers, mate.
See you, mate.
See you, mate. Thank you. Bye.